Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Today we are talking about day 23, and today is I'm talking about communication, if I can even say that in communication world. There are many types of ways to communicate, right? Like doing videos like this. Oh my gosh. Um, but when we look at this as far as a leadership role, as well as how to have your downline also engage in these leadership roles, you're going to want to really look at all the different kinds of systems in teaching classes around teaching classes. And so, one of the really great ideas, which I think is brilliant, is that we should, or you should, consider a school like he called it an academy, like a secret weapon teaching academy on how to teach classes or how to lead classes. And there are many different types of classes that you will need to have down if you're going to be a big leader. The first class, of course, is the introduction class or the product class, right? The second class is the opportunity or the business opportunity and how you can make money. The third class is sharing your story. Like, actually, that should be number one, but your story, you need to know your why and, get really good at it. Get really like inspiring and really polished in how that class lands for other people. So you can change it up if you're talking to somebody who's reluctant or if you're talking to somebody who's all in. I mean, you're going to be a different level of emotion and excitement, right? And so you want to be able to read people, know what you're speaking, and we call that speaking into their listening. And so, like, that's why we have such a hard time doing Facebook Lives and stuff, is because we don't know who we're speaking into. We don't know 100% who's listening at each time that we have a Facebook Live or something. And so, you're also going to need to have a understanding or a checklist of basic training of the business. Okay. Then you are going to have a class on different levels of the business. And what I love about Natalie Goddard is she designed all these lead guides, build guides, you know, um, building to silver, building to gold, building to, diamond, all these booklets you can find actually are on our doTERRA United States website under the Shared Success Program. And I'll show you if you have questions, just reach out to me. And actually, if you wanted to type in the chat below or just text me in WhatsApp or email. And then the last one is you're going to want to have a keynote speech. You guys, we've talked about this in the past. In a keynote speech, you may feel like if you're brand new to doTERRA that there's no way that you're ever going to be doing a speech in front of 100,000 people, or let's just even say 500 people. I remember as a business owner with a print shop, I remember I was president of the women's group that was there, and it's for business women leaders. And the group had maybe 40, 50 members from time to time. It'd go down to 25 and then back up to 50, just as people come and go. And I remember when I was president, we had our banquet. It was like October 28th. And my dad passed away October 4th that year that I was president. And my whole system just went down. It shut down. Like, I never grieved before, like, until my dad passed away. Like, you don't realize the levels and understanding of grieving until you really lost someone who's close to you. And I'm going to say that my dad and I weren't really 100% close. We weren't huggy, or we never really said, I love you every day or something like that. But that family connection, that connection that you lost really shatters your foundation. And so, what I had to do on that second week after dad had passed away is get on stage in front of 300 people and run a program. I had to say little things from time to time, introduce people, and oh my gosh, my brain was not there. And how are you able then to actually stand up in front of somebody and under any circumstance that can happen, family passing away, um, I don't know, whatever goes on in our life, we have to get over it and actually land the speech, do it really well. So practicing these things now will make those events later. happen more freely and more easily. So if I asked you if you can do a presentation on, let's say, you're going to do a presentation on the Meta Power, and some of you don't even have this product in your market, right? But I'm going to tell you, do a presentation, and I want you to start right now and talk in front of these 30 people. Would you be able to do it? Now, there's some conversations around faking it until you making it, but it's not necessarily what you know about the product. It's who you're being about your love with doTERRA. So you can come up with, oh yeah, this product is supposed to help you with, your metabolism and all this stuff like that. But doTERRA just keeps coming out with such amazing products. And I can trust this product and the convenience of having it in a pill form. Or you can go on and on and on. Pretty good for about 5 minutes on just what you know about doTERRA and the quality of the products, the testing. You may not know the specific details about this, but you can actually get through that if you have done enough presentations and know kind of the outline of what's important that people want to hear. Maybe the price, maybe whatever it is. So go through and get really good at doing presentations. So those are the five: your story, your opportunity, your product, basic training, and keynote are the five that you want to just start really getting good at. And so, what I'm going to suggest is that we do, after my tour in India, maybe we start in January, is we start doing classes um, on presentations. And I would suggest with your leaders, if you want to do classes in your home, schedule them once every Monday for a few weeks and then take a break and then come back again when you have more leaders, schedule them again. Now, if you really want your team to duplicate and you really want to get them independent of you, this is what needs to happen. This has got to be the secret weapon. Like, get over it if you think you have to be the one teaching the classes. So there's two things that's going on in your head about that. One is you have an ego that there's no room for anybody else, or two, you don't think your leaders are good enough. And that's not good. You can train anybody, and if they're hungry and capable and committed, they will actually really be inspired that you asked them to learn how to teach this. They may be scared at first, but know that you were probably scared when you first started to learn how to ride the bike, or maybe you were scared to learn how to drive a car the first time. So we get over those fears, and your job as a leader is to inspire and mentor them throughout the process and make them feel good and wanted and accepted, and that they got this, that they can do this. So um, I was asked to introduce a product at the doTERRA convention in India. So I'm going to go on stage in front of, I don't know how many people are going to be at that convention, and I don't even want to know. And I'm like, oh, my heart won't stop racing. I start thinking about it, but I know the more I think about it, the more scared and freaked out I'm going to be. But what can I do to make that experience really powerful? What can I do? Practice. That's right. And you can practice all these classes. You can practice your story. So if you get in front of a group and do a little academy with your people, make them get up and stand and do the presentation. And then you guys evaluate right away. Oh, you forgot the opportunity. You forgot the follow up. You forgot to schedule another meeting, or what was the ask? Let's make that a little more powerful. You have to be willing to accept the downfalls of what you're doing, but you have blind spots, you guys. Just remember, we all have blind spots. I know I could be doing my presentations a million times better. And if after each presentation we sat down and reviewed how that went, um, and all that good stuff, then we would be so much further along. Now, here's another thing that's important. Before you do a presentation, you want to set the intention. Maybe you have a group of different leaders that are doing the class together. Maybe you're driving together to a class. Maybe you're doing it over Zoom. But if you can meet with the leaders or the host or whoever that is beforehand, 2 weeks beforehand, you want to call them up and say, we're excited for your class. Let's set the intention. How many people do you want to have at that class? I want 30 people. Okay. So how many do you have so far? Two. Okay. So how can we measure and get to that goal and actually exceed that goal? And you start working out a plan. Okay, here, call 10 people a day, send out invitations, go through the ideas of helping that person set them up properly so that that can happen. Also, you're going to ask them, hey, I'm really excited that you're hosting this class. Now, this is your first class. So, the first one, I can teach all of it if you like. If you want to teach part of it, let's practice that part right now so that we can help empower you to do more later. What do you say? And then you're getting that mindset going where they can actually start doing that. Now, 1 week beforehand, follow up. How's it going? How many guests do you have now? And then help them through, coach them, inspire them. And then when it gets 2 days beforehand, follow up again. Make sure they have the room all set up. Make sure everybody's got their guests coming. Tell them how to remind them half hour before the class or an hour before the class or the evening before, send them a text. Tell them you're going to. Hey, I'm going to send you a text if that's okay, just to do a little reminder, um, and so on. Now, for my tour in India, I don't know if you've been noticing, some of you may have, that I've been sending out emails this time. I hadn't done that in the past. I'm like, see, I'm still learning, you guys. And so, yeah, I could do one more thing I could have done better is got on Facebook and actually done more Facebook Lives and talking about the different locations. And I could do a Facebook Live in each village talking about the leader who's responsible for that village, tag you in that live so that that way we can actually edify you and help you guys grow and be better. So every time you're doing a class, what about the social media aspect to be able to help ramp that up? And the next, so communication, people need to be aware, they need to know. Really, really important. And evaluating that communication. So go back and watch that Facebook Live. What could have I done different? What could I've done better? What did I forget? Make note of that and just keep improving yourself until you're just I'm just going to tell you. I even see Matt, who's the double diamond, presidential diamond person. He doesn't do everything perfect all the time, right? And so that's okay. And sometimes that imperfectness actually calls for the authenticity of who you are. And so I feel like the more I do these little videos and things like that, you'll see sometimes where I lose my train of thought or I forget what I'm talking about or I don't know what the whole point of the thing is. um, but you're able to the more practice you do, you're able to grab it back, catch it back, and get back on focus and on topic. And so if you're doing that in front of 2 people, in front of 50 people, or 1,000 people, or 100,000 people, how are you skilled and are you practiced? And I think it's a rite of passage of the bigger the crowd, the more practice you've had. So if you want to be someone who's got 100,000 people on your team, well, you better be able to speak in front of all of them at one time. If you want to be a someone, now, is that an if or? Well, no. There are some people who are probably double presidential diamond who don't do any of that. But you know what? You're going to have that confidence and that skill set where it's not going to be an issue, right? So don't let that scare you today to stop growing. Let that be an inspiration for you to grow bigger, bigger than you know yourself to be. So I think that's real important. So so today we talked about again presentations. Really get good at them. So your story, your product introduction presentation, the opportunity presentation, basic training, advanced trainings, and then the keynote speech that you're going to have. Okay. And again, this doing these practicing and getting beyond your limiting beliefs, getting beyond those blocks. And if you did an academy and had all of your leaders get past those limiting stops or those blocks and getting really good at closing, getting really good at having 100% enrollment. Like, wouldn't that be great if this tour that we do in India, we have all the guests that show up, we have 100% enrollment. I would just absolutely just love that. And so, wouldn't you feel better if you were inviting someone and came to a class and you know that they're going to enroll because of how powerful the speaker I am? Or what would it be like if you brought people to the class and I sucked at it and they just were really disappointed in how that class went? You guys, Those things can happen. So really get good at what you're doing. Um, so again, the trainer school, the academy or whatnot, and just reviewing my notes here. Edify, 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 edify as much as you can. So if you are doing a class and someone's hosting it at their house and they don't want to teach any of it, bring them up in front of the group, honor them, tell them how much you appreciate them, tell them how you know them, tell them what matters to you about that person. Just make them feel really good, and that really will make a huge difference as a first step. And so edification is really important. I know what's really fun in India on the first trip we did, every place we went, they got us up on stage and they gave us these beautiful scarves, the tribal scarves. Um, and or their state scarves like in Assam. It's really just honor. It's really important. And I think that it just really sets the tone of the appreciation and the respect that's going to be laid out in front of us, right? So people are going to listen differently than if they just showed up and we slammed a bunch of stuff in their face, right? Um, um, so edify and also, the best way to have a really good class is to always schedule another class. And I've talked about this before. So, in your presentations, you never want to leave a presentation without a call to action and without a follow up meeting and announce that. So, for example, when I come to India, I want a follow up meeting at each place that we go to already scheduled. So I'll probably come up with like each state or each place or each house or host will have you come up and say, "Hey, we're going to do a follow-up meeting next Monday or next month." Do one every month, you guys. If you have want to be growing in this business, then go ahead and try to do a schedule class every month. Now, I remember when I first started doing doTERRA, I remember Matt Hall telling me, "Becky, if you really want to grow the business, you need to do 3 classes a week." And I'm like, 3 classes a week? That's crazy. I don't even know if I have that many people to invite. Like, how do I do that? Hey, you guys, the trick is not all my people I'm inviting. Yes, I'm inviting, but when I invite, let's say I'm starting out with my first class, I invite 5 people from my top 100 list. They all come. They have a 100 names list too. And if they invite 5 people, those 5 people have a 100 names list. You guys, it's not all on your list. So it's really important to keep that momentum going and keep that running. So I'm looking forward to planning out all of 2024 with a whole calendar full of classes, um, all this different stuff going on. And anyway, I hope this was helpful. Give me a like on this video. Chat out what your thoughts are on this. And yeah, you guys, I just want to let you know how much I appreciate you and how exciting this is and how much I believe in you. And it's going to be an amazing tour in India, an amazing holiday season, and I know and know that you guys will grow even further beyond your dreams. So, let's do it. Roll up your sleeve. Let's make it happen. Talk to you soon.